Virginia, I wanted to start with you first. Throughout your career, you've always played these characters who've created a lasting impact on audiences, and Mia especially will hit home for a lot of people. What was it about her that resonated with you?
It wasn't just about what resonated with me with Mia, but what resonated with me in the project in general.
Mm,
I just think it's really beautiful and refreshing and sweet, and I think can kind of touch people that are younger and older. And I really
yeah,
like film that I feel like you could watch as a family and everybody can enjoy it. But with Mia specifically, it was really just her love of life and her positivity, her optimism, not being a victim of her circumstance, and she's sick and she doesn't know how much longer she's going to be here. So every time she smells a flower or has a bite of food, it's all so savored and enjoyed as if it could be her last. So I really loved kind of seeing life from that perspective for a point of time and really like savoring each moment as Mia does.
beautifully said. And Alex, Kyle's journey in this film is about dealing with his guilt and grief, and you brought so much nuance to that. As an actor, how did you create this space for yourself to dive into kind of those darker, more vulnerable moments?
Oh man, I think a big part of it is just the preparation. I think I've been very fortunate that a lot of my preparation for projects has included having fun, getting ready to have a surfer's body or having a football player's body or whatever have you, and all of that stuff I love to do. I love preparing in any way to be to be a part of this person or to have this person be me. With this role, obviously, it was like an emotional six pack that I had to build,
Mm.
and so doing that with the help of don't laugh at don't this is my creative. You know what? I am sick of you undermining me.
Emotional six pack. That's
So
I thought it
good.
was a bar. I thought it was, honestly, I think that might be the headline of the article. I think that might be the headline of the damn
Sayonara
article.
builds an emotional six pack.
Alex, that's actually my autobiography I'm starting to write. It's called Emotional Six Pack. It'll be out on the shelves pretty soon. Uh, I think it just takes a lot of prep. I was very fortunate to work with James Minarski, an incredible acting coach, to help build that little web of emotional state and getting to really commit to that. And then there's a bunch of other things. Jenny would love to tell you about her playlist and specifically what songs are on the playlist that she. But I also did the same, and they just were much less enjoyable songs than Jenny's.
Wait, now I need to know
And
about
that's
this
what you get for
playlist.
undermining me about. I thought it's emotional six pack was a good thing to say.
Wait, Jenny, what was on that playlist?
Alex is giving me a hard time because I like to make a playlist for a character, and then the follow-up question is always what was on the playlist, and I can
Yeah.
never remember what was on the playlist. But I beat you to it because I already looked it up. Vienna by Billy Joel. That was one of my songs on the playlist that I really thought spoke to Mia. So there, Alex.
Give us a song you haven't said today. How about that, Ben? I'm
Little
sorry,
Wonders
Kevin.
promise.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I'll behave. I'm wasting our time. I'm wasting
You
our
guys
time.
have great chemistry, and it comes off on the screen as well. I know this is a question for the both of you, but Mia has this belief that we're all here to make a difference in somebody else's life. Who were the people who've impacted your journey as artists and storytellers?
Great question. Okay, I'll hit this out of the gates. I have a brother, my brother Chas, he has a disease called deaf one, but a big symptom of that is autism. So he's severely
Mm,
autistic, can't speak, needs to have, kind of help constantly. And so I think growing up with someone as challenged as my brother sort of has given me a pretty unique perspective on things. And I've always found him and his challenges to be really inspiring and how he's continued to go on and is so strong. And I do think there's a part of Mia that's quite like that too. So I'd say for me as an artist and as a human being, my brother is always my biggest inspiration.
Right answer. How about for you, Alex?
I think I probably should skip at this point. I think I guess I'll take it just in another direction. Ginny's answer is so beautiful and so real and raw, and I think when it comes to people overcoming obstacles, I look at my parents a lot. My dad being an immigrant and all of that. But more so than that, you know, I think of any David and Goliath story. You know, at the end of the day, these are two David and Goliath stories with Kyle and Mia, two people facing a seemingly impossible task. You know, really trying to overcome an impossible trial. And so I look at anybody who's been able to do that, from Michael Jordan to my dad. You know, I think that there's when it comes to overcoming an obstacle, the nuances of each of them, like you've said, can be worlds apart. And so in preparation for just knowing what it takes and knowing that there's enough fight left to keep on going and pushing, it's inspiring to see it in any capacity.
Beautifully said. And, you know, Virginia, something that this film does so brilliantly is it really embraces those really subtle and quiet moments to drive home the emotions that these characters are feeling. What was it like collaborating with Joaquin and finding those moments where audiences can really sit and put themselves in the shoes of these characters?
Well, we had a pretty in-depth rehearsal process, both Alex and I with the coach that we had mentioned prior, and then with Joaquin. So the three of us had sat down with Joaquin, I guess the two of us with Joaquin had sat down probably for a week every day before we started filming. And so we didn't over rehearse it, but we really just talked through each moment. And I'm always a big believer in cutting dialogue whenever you can. Like, if you can say it with a look, say it with a look. And Keen gave us the space to cut a lot of dialogue and sort of let us live in those quiet moments. And then, of course, you know, once you get to the edit, the people that worked on our film really allowed those moments to stay in there, and let them breathe. And as you know, it's every time you make a project, it takes a village. And so it's a piece of everybody that goes in there and helps create those moments.
So we were talking about music earlier. In addition to acting, you're also an acclaimed singer-songwriter. If you had to pick one of your own songs that best describes your character's arc or his relationship with Mia in the film, which would it be and why?
Ooh.
Acclaimed is Kevin. You are. I do not know how to react to that. Acclaimed. I don't know who has acclaimed me, but I appreciate them. I would say, you know what? This is so hippy dippy. I hate myself. I'm wearing a cardigan and I'm about to say this. There's a song off of my album I dropped in 2020 during the pandemic called Good Morning. And the concept of the song is that regardless of what's going on in your life, whatever happened before, today is all we got. Tomorrow may never come. So get up. Good morning. And I think that in this story specifically, and in life in general, we can't control what happens to us. So much happens to Kyle, so much happens to Mia, so much happens to me, and so much happens to Ginny, and so much happens to you. And I think the biggest thing is in the song, this is so weird, I'm quoting myself, but it is like, it might be the day where nothing's right, or it might be the best day of your entire life, and you never know, because they both start with good morning. And so I think that to me is probably the song I'd throw in there, just because it does mean it's a lot easier said than done, but it is said in that song.
Very poetic. I got one final question for you both, and it's a cheesy one, but I have to ask it without giving any spoilers. Mia's view on Venus changes throughout the film. Who or what is your Venus?
Someone asked us that earlier, and she thought that she knew what mine was going to be because I'm a newlywed, and I should have thought of my husband, but I thought of my dog. But then my husband is very second.
Did you say Winston again?
Yeah, I did say Winston. It's your turn.
It's not fair. I'm also probably going to say Winston at this point. It's just the cutest. He's a Cavapoo, right?
Cavapoo, King Charles mini poodle.
Man, that's crazy. If I don't get to choose somebody else's dog, which I guess I can understand, it's understandable. I'm going to go with my family. I'm going to say the same answer I gave. It's the one thing that it never changes for me. It's always the same, and I always, no matter where I am, no matter what's going on, I know I can go there. So Venus it is.